place between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. Events occur in real time.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to FBC Radio Live. We are back. The weekend is over. It's Monday morning. It's 9:09 on the East Coast. That's right. Broadcasting live from the St. Petersburg, Florida studios, high-tech studios, right here in my bedroom. If you can't tell, behind me, behind this nice, fancy-looking sheet here is a bed, a closet, and probably a few cats, but. Unfortunately, my co-host is not one of them. Well, I don't know, actually. He might be looking into the window. I could not tell. Let's ask him. Mike, how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing well, my friend, but I assure you I am no looker. Don't let the Benny Mardones connection fool you. I am nothing like that, man. No, there's no question about it. It's great to be kicking off another week, Monday, March 8th. The NFL league year begins next week, buddy. This is our last full week before the 2021 NFL league year officially kicks off. And boy, it's going to be a busy weekend, a busy week leading into this. Huge stuff going on in the NFL. So I know that NBA All-Star game last night, a lot of stuff going on. So always a lot to talk about. Without further ado, buddy, let's kick this off.
Yeah, oh, for sure. And that's the thing. I mean, we just, it feels like the Super Bowl was just 1 month ago yesterday. And in fact, it was 1 month ago yesterday. So, that's why it feels like that. But, the NFL, really for all the leagues, their playing time encompasses the shortest period of time of any league. And I'm saying this off the top of my head. I'm like 98% sure that I'm correct on this one. I believe the NFL season technically spans the shortest amount of time of any major sports league in a normal season. Obviously, we're not talking shortened pandemic seasons, but in reality, it's 365 days. No, it's like 300 days, 315, because there are about 30 or 40 days during this summer. This a couple weeks leading up to this. This upcoming week included, where it's just really dead. But for the most part, there's always something going on in the NFL, and it's always the top subject on every talk show like this, every radio show, whatever. And there's always more to talk about, Mike. Always, Mike. Always,
buddy. Always.
Including.
Always want to talk.
Including. Cut you off there, I know. But I didn't want to get too far off topic. Including a potential swap of quarterbacks that we're going to talk about here in just a minute. I'm going to tease it. I don't know if you've read this article yet. I don't know how much of a reality it would be, but it's an interesting thing for us to talk about, and it'll certainly help kill some time. But the most important thing I have to ask you, and unfortunately, I think I might know the answer, and I think it's going to be disappointing for me. Did you binge watch this weekend?
I did not.
You're killing me. You're killing me.
I know
you're
I'm
killing me.
Smalls. I understand that, but I did not have the opportunity to do that. And unfortunately, the WandaVision, binge watch is going to have to probably take place at some point this week, because I know we want to try to get this in before the start of the league year next week. So I will do my due diligence. I will get this done, and
won't take you long.
I will be equipped to talk about it.
It won't take you long. Give it let's see, what 8 episodes, about 30 minutes for the 7 of them. Doing the math in my head, that's 210 minutes plus the 50, so 300 minutes, Mike. Fine, 300 minutes. Does that make sense? Yeah, 300 minutes.
Yeah, I think we can do that. Yep.
Yeah, it was good. You like how I did that? I'm pretty good like that. I always find it fascinating, people's method of doing math. Offhand, obviously. I'm not talking about longhand. I'm talking like, if I were to say, throw out something like, what's the process that you go through? If I say 37 plus 25, how would you do that in your head?
What? Wait a minute. Repeat that again.
I said I'm always fascinated how people do math. You know what I mean? Like in my head, if I sit there and look at 35 plus 27, how am I going to do it? Well, first I'm going to go, okay, 30 plus 20, that's 50. And then 7 plus 5 is 12. So, well, I already forgot what I said. 62.
Everybody's got their own little devices on doing that. Yeah, I tend to work in multiples of 10, and I utilize that. Multiples of 10, multiples, 20 or whatever. But anything that can be, driven back down to 10 is usually where I'll start to do a quick count in my head. I'm probably not the guy you want doing quick counts in your head. Believe me when I tell you, numbers and me just do not get along. We never have. We never will. I am one of those people that will stand for the inventor of the calculator until the day that I'm no longer breathing. So yeah, that's my love-hate relationship with math. It was my understanding that there would be no math.
Nice. Well done. Well done.
That's
no, I apologize. We're not going to turn this into it was just a random thought, caffeine fueled thought that passed across my my brain
thought.
this morning.
It's a valid thought, absolutely. Yep.
But no, seriously though,
anything that will accentuate my shortcomings, I'm all for it.
Well, no, seriously. The finale was great. I watched it Friday night. See, here's the thing. I didn't attempt to stay up this time. I knew it was a failure. So I got my sleep. And I got up early. The problem was, I think I told you, I forgot about it. I forgot, so I didn't even watch it in the morning. But the good thing is, I'm glad I didn't. Because for some reason, I couldn't do it throughout the day. There was so much work to be done. Even if I took a break, I felt like I couldn't enjoy it. So I had to wait till the nighttime and, wait till after the Bruins game. And so I did. And after a exciting Bruins game, one that saw them win and beat the Washington Capitals, I sat down and watched WandaVision, and it was fantastic. Again, I'm not going to sit here and spoil it for anyone who may or may not have seen it. All I can say is if you enjoy it, like I said, if you're a Marvel fan, I would highly recommend it. It's certainly got my hopes up, I guess, for the Captain and the Falcon. But I tend to be very pessimistic about some of these like spin-off shows. Sometimes I feel like they just do it for the money. For example, this isn't a spin-off show, but I was very cold, I guess, on Coming to America 2. But I don't know if you saw it over the weekend. I didn't. I'll sit there.
Did not. No, to tell you the truth, I really didn't have time to do much of anything. I would have binge watched WandaVision knowing that we were going to do that. Hearing a lot of mixed reviews on Coming to America, America. And I don't know, man. I'm worried. I'm worried to watch it because, I'm curious because I definitely want to see it come full circle. Now that there's another part out there, it's almost like you kind of have to see it, but I don't know. I'm worried about it ruining the legacy of the original.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. Jury's still out on this.
I'll say this. Based on my impressions before it premiered and what I've seen, the reaction, I was pleasantly surprised at the number of positive reviews. Now, here's the thing, Mike. This could be low expectation positive views. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe your expectations were so low that you were pleasantly surprised. And that maybe you've forgotten how good the original was. That excuse me, you trick yourself into thinking this was good. I don't know. I have a hard time looking at that. It's like if they came out with a Beverly Hills Cop 4. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? Number 3. I mean, we try to forget number 3 as it is. All right.
Exactly.
I have the 3 DVD set. I put only 2 of them in my travel case. I didn't even put the 3rd one in. I don't even need it. So like, you know what I mean? But like, as much as I like the first 2, I don't know if I'm necessarily eager to see late 50s, early 60s Eddie Murphy and Judge Reinhold and I don't even know if Taggart's not alive, is he? The actor passed away, correct?
Taggart is.
He is. Okay,
Taggart
maybe.
Is still alive.
Gerald Ford, right. The actor Gerald Ford, President Ford.
That's former President Gerald Ford right there. Yep. But no, Taggart is still he's still around. And that was, as a matter of fact, believe it or not, Bogomil was still alive. Ronnie Cox, I think, is nearing 90, or he's got to be close to it, but he's still around.
Why not? Let's get the crew back together. Apparently, a Surge.
Absolutely. Let's get
what about Surge
back together.
The
Surge
Surge?
is always around. Yeah,
Surge.
he's definitely around. Yeah, there's no question about it. Yeah, Ahmed,
Aquel.
Tully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
One of my favorite lines in the movie is
Oh.
when Eddie Murphy in the falsetto. Get the we can't do that.
Yeah.
Can't do that. It's
No,
a
no,
family
no,
show,
no.
folks. But
Get the bleep out of here.
yeah, exactly.
Oh,
But,
what a great movie!
yeah.
If you haven't seen
Yeah.
it, I highly recommend it. And but again, maybe I'm changing
but
my
come-
mind on on a Beverly Hills Cop 4. Get the band back together.
Well, it would have to be done the right way. See,
Yeah.
that's the thing. If you're doing it just for nostalgic's sake, and I read a couple of reviews over the weekend that said that this was pretty much done for the sake of nostalgia and for nothing else. That it really didn't do a
Yeah, I
whole
don't
lot
like that.
to further the story, and so that got me a little bit. I don't know, not squeamish, but that got me a little bit nervous about watching this one and saying, well, I hate when they cultivate a story when it didn't have to be cultivated.
Mhm.
Kind of like Indiana Jones 4. It really is. It's kind of like you have that perfect ending almost, and it's like, why would you want to change that? To me, the Indiana Jones saga would have ended perfectly with Indy and his father riding right off into the sunset. You got Solly, you got Marcus, everything's all set, and then all of a sudden it just comes back, and it's like not so good. So I don't know what to think. I'm such a fan of the original. To me, it's still one of
Same.
one of the funniest movie that I've ever seen. It's got to be up there, and it's funny how many Eddie Murphy movies are right in there as well, along with it, maybe Trading Places, the original Beverly Hills Cop being in there too. I mean, just some of the greatest comedy that he did was in that era in the 80s. But eventually I will check it out. I mean, there's no question about it. I kind of have to, just to see what's going on. And I did read some positive reviews too. So, we'll take the good with the bad. I try not to buy too much into the reviews. I should learn to eat my own thoughts.
I'm the same way. Like, I know, like, I'll sit there and I'll see a movie, a title, maybe something I haven't heard of, and I'm intrigued, but then I'm like, do I go down the reviews? Do I look at the reviews? And as soon as I do, then it's like there could be like 85 positives, and there'll be one negative, and I'm like, then I never end up watching it.
Yeah.
But hey, folks, if you have any thoughts on this, if you have any recommendations if you''t seen Coming to America too, please let us know. 626-310-8882. 626-310-8882. Give us a call, give us a text. We'll pick up and talk to you. One of the most ridiculous things I saw on Twitter, and I know it's impressive because there's a lot of ridiculous things being said on Twitter, had to do with someone suggesting that Kevin Hart is better than Eddie Murphy. And look, I'm not I'm indifferent about like I think I laugh at some of the stuff he does, but I'm not like the biggest fan. Like I think he's talented, but I don't think he's overly talented. You know what I mean? Like I don't think there's anything really special or appealing about Kevin Hart. I think he's just a funny guy who has some nice bit roles, in my opinion. Yeah, I remember when he fell into the pit and This Is the End. That was pretty funny. Trying to tie a shoe, whatever. But someone on Twitter, obviously, I'm guessing they were probably born in the late 90s, early 2000s,
Right.
suggested that his body of work was better than Eddie Murphy's. And for some reason, they were focusing on the last 10 years or so. And I'm like, that's absurd. First of all, I don't think anyone realizes just how great Eddie Murphy is. I guess I would say is probably his most recent quote unquote success. And maybe this is part of it too, is because maybe Shrek and the Nutty Professor franchise. Am I missing something recent that he's really stood out for? In which case, if you want to sit there and say, oh, over the last, Eddie Murphy's been active since what, late 70s? I think he's deserved to have a good 10 years of moderate work, but No, I saw
Yeah.
that and I was like, man, I'm like, I understand like maybe you don't know him, but like the habit of people to see, here's the thing. The habit people have or the I guess the I don't know, people do this in sports all the time, but you know, they don't sit there and admit that or you know, accept that they haven't necessarily seen this person, which is fine. You know, or whether it's an athlete or an actor, like, you know, hey, look, sometimes your birth gets in the way. Like sometimes you're born at a certain point and you physically cannot have you seen things that have happened in the past. I mean, if you have, then you know, get in touch with me because then you know we might have a business plan going on with, you know, traveling back and forth to the future or in the past. I think there was a movie about that.
It's Scott.
Yeah, there you go. Um, anyways, people have skipped the step of acknowledging that maybe they just don't know about a certain topic and just making a statement based on not know, you know what I mean? So like people obviously these kids would be like, okay, you know, I like Kevin Hart, I know Kevin Hart, oh he's great, oh he's better than Eddie Murphy. Well why? Have you seen any? Well, I haven't seen it. You know, then go back and watch because like you're making these statements based on really just I don't know. It's one of those things that bugs me, and it trickles into sports too. But I kind of feel like that was the basis of how this comment came about. It's like, yeah, you're making a judgment based on a small percentage of his career, and like how can you sit there and make a definitive, like if I sit there and say, oh, I like Kevin Hart more than I like Eddie Murphy, I would, you know, if I actually believe this, and if I was probably a little bit younger, I'd say, but I don't really know much about Eddie Murphy. I know about his last 10 years because, hey, that's when I was alive. You know what I mean? That's a conversation, not Eddie Murphy, Kevin Hart greater than Eddie Murphy. It's like, no, that's just stupid. I'm sorry. And I'm not trying to crap on Kevin Hart. I happen to like, you know, like I said, I like, you know, I don't think there's anything crazy special about him, but, you know, still like him. I don't dislike him.
No, and you know, I think it's a generational war that really just won't be won. And this really is the case when it comes to, I think, every generation. When you start to see generational turnover, they're automatically going to quote unquote stand, I guess is the best way to put it. They're going to stand for the member of their that's closer to their generation, that's closer to what they identify with. So this generation, yeah, they're going to identify a little more with Kevin Hart than they are with Eddie Murphy. First of all, he's a little closer in age. Their body of work was really not, you know, conducive to this generation. You go back 80s, and I mean that's old stuff now. You know, I mean, 80s music is being played on the oldies station. That's your parents.
Dude, 90s music is being played on the oldies station.
Exactly. That's your parents and grandparents music now. I mean, I know to us it's still, you know, the music of the day. We still, you know, think of our youth when we hear that, but the new generation's not having that, so they're going to gravitate toward what they
look.
want.
I understand.
They're going to try. And
I
they're
understand
try to
that.
further them anyway.
No,
but,
I understand.
At the same time,
I understand.
It doesn't make them right.
No, I understand. I no, of course. No, I understand that, but it's like, you know, people won't admit the very obvious. Well, of course, I wasn't alive for the 70s. But I'm not going to sit here and say something that I didn't experience or have no basis of comparison to. You know, I'm not going to make an affirm. That's my issue. I understand. Like, you know, you're going to be biased towards your own gender. I mean, that's a theme as old as our good friend Chris Blackie. It's been around forever. Okay, and he's really going to get me later. And I always he's kind of my go-to, you know, pot shot for age jokes. But no, I get that. Everyone has bias towards their own generation, all that stuff. It's just like I feel like there's lack of like wanting to know, like how, like I'm not gonna, I don't know. Maybe I'm just maybe this is just my random think. I don't. Whatever. Speaking of Stan, though, Mike, and I'm glad you actually said that because it actually. I got a chuckle out of the trend over the weekend, or apparently that's been building up, that people want to try to cancel Eminem, and I saw someone's response to that, or yeah, I don't know, some statement. I don't remember who it was, a fan, whoever, and they said, "Look, the FCC and people for 20 years have been trying to cancel this guy. Like I'm pretty sure he's almost like cancel culture proof, and rightfully so. It's like again, if you're going back and in hindsight, like going through and be like, oh, he needs. I'm tired of it, Mike. I'm so tired of it. But I'm glad because I got a chuckle out of that because I'm like, no, Eminem is. I'm pretty sure he's cancel proof. I'm pretty sure he can go out and do whatever he wants. And look, I mean, it's because he's very talented, and what he does isn't just a, in my opinion. I'm a fan. I obviously grew up. I'm biased. Hey, he was big during my high school years and college years and all that stuff. So of course I have a bias towards him, but I also happen to think he's an incredibly talented artist that people are now, without understanding what they're complaining about, trying to cancel someone. And it's a trend that I chuckle at, but at the same time, it's so frustrating to see it happen over and over and over again. It's like, settle down, people. Do you really have to be this angry all the time? Does everything upset you? I don't know, Mike.
Well, I mean, just take a look at Twitter all over the place today
true.
and tell me that
That's
things,
true.
really, it's just. I mean, you look at Twitter on a daily basis. It's angry people, voicing their opinions.
Yeah.
That's basically what it has become. It's a necessary evil in our business, and I'm not ashamed to say that it is a necessary evil. I would love to unplug from the Bird app for the rest of my life. Can't do it. You just can't do it in the line of work that we're in. But at the same time, it really is. I mean, it is a breeding ground for opinions that most of which really don't belong in society. I'm sorry to say it. Really, really doesn't. The stuff that people admit on social media is just, it baffles me. It just absolutely baffles me. This is a conversation for another day. I'm going to start getting on my old man soapbox in a minute here, but it really just, it amazes me what people will admit to on social media. Just crazy stuff.
Look, hey. It's a fact. I'm right there with you. I wish I could.
Oh, no. I don't think you get me. I want out permanently.
That's right.
Yes.
I want out
absolutely.
permanently,
Right
but
there.
I can't.
Yep.
I can't. I mean, it would be great if I could just escape for just a day, even just a day, even. But it's impossible. I understand the attraction, the allure, and perhaps it's because of the let's say, different thinking that is abound on Twitter that makes it so entertaining and addicting that we keep coming back and back and back. So, yeah, there's our Eddie Murphy, Kevin Hart talk for the day, I guess. Certainly not what I expected, but
and the ultimate lesson from all of this, folks, is that Ian and I will soon be watching Coming to America and give you our feedback and our review on it right here. So that might be a spoiler alert, Deb. We might have to start, prefacing that. If anybody hasn't seen it, they may want to check this out on a later feed. But Ian and I will be giving our opinion once we've seen it. So good stuff.
I'm probably going to watch it this week. I do want to. I do want to see it.
I love the original too much not to see this through and not to see what they have in store. And from what I heard, I think there are some funny scenes and stuff like that in there. So this will be good. I think it'll be a good experience.
Well, look, I sit here and say,
it will. Wait a minute. Hold on. It will not be an overrated experience.
There you go. Very good. Very good.
I tied my own shoes once.
Yeah, we're definitely watching this. We'll do a live watch together with our friends on Twitter.
Let them wait.
Oh man, now I see. Oh, see, this is what happened.
The rest of FPC Radio Live this morning will be brought to you by Coming to America.
Yes, pretty much. Mike performs the entire Coming to America movie, followed by Beverly Hills Cop 1. You fell for the banana in the tailpipe.
I got a special treat for you this evening. Young man, who you all know is Joe the Policeman from the What's Going Down episode of That's My Mama. I want you to welcome to the stage, big round of applause for Jackson Heights' own Mr. Randy Watson.
Oh, keep going. Let's do the whole. We got 27 minutes left. We can get most of that movie. No, seriously though, I am gonna watch it, but I sit here and knock remakes and all that. But I'd run to the TV and be glued to the TV the second they announced that Jack Bauer was returning, or Kiefer Sutherland was returning as Jack Bauer. I'd be all over that. I'd be like, yeah, give me all the remakes you want. But No, I think for the most part remakes are
That's a little different. Yeah.
yeah, that's a little bit. I mean, it's 24. I mean, it's come on, let's be
Oh,
real here.
of course.
So, um,
This
no,
is a huge part of our lives. Yes.
no, it is the biggest. Well, yeah, one of the biggest parts of my life. It's encompassed such a long period of time in my life. Let's put it that way. So, anyways, I talked earlier about I alluded to an article. We're actually going to talk about sports today, folks. Don't worry. 626-310-8882 if you want to get involved or give your opinion or thoughts or whatever, or tell us to shut the hell up and stick to sports if that's what you want to do.
Or just tell us to shut the hell up to begin with.
Yeah. I was gonna say maybe who knows, but a story I believe out of the Houston Chronicle suggested a potential. Now again, this isn't saying that this is close or been talked about. This is just kind of throwing out some ideas, and that's what we do. We talk about ideas and thoughts and potential things. That's what we do on sports radio. A Deshaun Watson for Kyler Murray trade. Arizona getting Deshaun Watson, Kyler Murray going to Houston.
Right.
The basis of it being, the premise rather of the story being, well, the Texans should just accept that they need to trade Deshaun Watson, which I think you and I both agree with. At this point, what's best for both of them is to move on. Now, this writer, and I apologize, I wish I saw this right before we got on the air, so I didn't really get a chance to research it too deep. But the writer suggested that maybe they should call Arizona. And do I think it's realistic? Probably not. How often do you get a trade like that? Two guys under the age of 26, high first-round draft picks, obviously Kyler Murray being a number 1 overall pick, being traded for each other. I get it for Arizona. Sure. Hey, you got DeAndre Hopkins. You got J.J. Watt. Might as well go out and get Deshaun Watson, too. Plus, again, you get Deshaun Watson on that Arizona team, then all of a sudden I think you're talking about a very high-ceiling team next season. Let's put it that way. We're not going to guarantee any sort of success because we know just collections of talent don't necessarily always work out, but I think given their structure, their foundation, what they have, who Deshaun Watson is, who DeAndre Hopkins is, who Larry Fitzgerald is, and of course, stud from UMass, Andy Isabella. Got to throw that out there. You get to brag about URI all the time. I'm going to talk about UMass for a little bit.
Hey, of course. Hey, I never brag about URI. I brag about Providence College, the real powerhouse.
Oh, what did I
you
say?
listen to Dave Brown? That's right. The real college in this state.
I apologize. I don't know why I said URI. I meant to say Providence College. I obviously know that, unless I've just started tuning you out whenever you start talking about Rhode Island, in which case I wouldn't know that.
Most people do, yeah.
Anyways, the point is, this if you're Arizona, absolutely. Forget about your now reputation for trading first overall picks after one season or two or whatever, one season. Forget about it. If Houston calls you and says, "Hey, would you take Deshaun Watson for Kyler Murray?" You're knocking on their front door before that phone hits the ground from when you drop it. It'll be like classic cartoon, like that phone hovers in the air, and by the time
yeah, you're busting through the door like
Exactly.
Kramer on that
Exactly.
one. Before you even going, Kramer found
hey Kramer,
out
I'm ordering Chinese.
Yeah, you're ordering Chinese.
Yeah.
You want to come over?
Yeah.
That's it.
Pretty much.
That's pretty much it. That's exactly how you're busting through that door if you are the Arizona Cardinals. And that's to me. I mean, and that is with no disrespect to Kyler Murray, who I think is on the cusp of being one of the premier quarterbacks in this league, a great young talent. But you have the opportunity to add someone with very few question marks to his availability. You do it and you grab it with both hands. I understand why so many Patriots fans up here are enamored with the thought of having Deshaun Watson here in New England. I would love nothing more than that. My problem is it's just not realistic. And I think clinging to those ideas is just setting yourself up for more disappointment. But at the same time, if it were actually feasible and I thought that this could be pulled off, I'd be standing for it every day, whether it be here, Locked On Patriots, I'd be hitting the Watson stump this year like you can't imagine. But I mean, it's interesting. I don't know how realistic, like you said, I don't know how realistic it is. You'd have to be, able to, break this down in terms of feasibility, in terms of whether or not either side would be willing to, even make these types of arguments. I mean, there's already rumors out there that these two teams may have even talked. I mean, I don't put any stock into that because there haven't been any type of validation behind anything like that. So before it's even reported, I always make sure that there's at least some semblance of truth. I don't think there's any semblance of order to that. But this was floated around, so you have to wonder, what types of deals might be out there, especially with the league year quickly approaching. It's going to be a big week for the NFL this week and into the early part of next week. Going to be huge, a flurry of big activity, and it's going to be interesting to see exactly what happens and where these dominoes fall.
Well, and here's the thing. I mean, we talk about how often do we get quarterback for quarterback trades. Well, we got one earlier this offseason between two, a little bit older but high first-round draft picks. Two number one overall draft picks, as a matter of fact. And Matt Stafford and Jared Goff. So it's certainly not out of the realm of possibility. I just feel like this one would hit a little bit differently. I think folks saw the trade between the Lions and the Rams as, not... it was surprising, but you know what I mean? It didn't have that like, oh, wow, now that is a trade type of reaction. It's like, okay, no, that makes sense. I mean, look, the Lions, Matt Stafford is probably on his way out. There's questions about his durability, not his talent, but his durability. Jared Goff obviously comes with a lot of questions, a lot of ups, a lot of downs. So that made sense. If you trade Deshaun Watson for Kyler Murray or Kyler Murray for Deshaun Watson, however you want to look at it, that's a league changing type trade, like how sometimes like all these teams are just waiting for one team to make a type of move before the floodgates are opened or whatever. And I'm not saying all of a sudden you're going to see a lot of quarterback trades, but you might start seeing a little bit more willingness to do that, because you trade Kyler Murray, who was again number one overall pick, and Deshaun Watson, who many probably would agree that he's at the worst a top 5 quarterback in this league. If you trade two of those guys with combined age almost as old as Tom Brady, which means they're both very young, that's crazy to think about. The two of them combined are just a few years older than Tom Brady. It's so silly.
Yeah,
it's
almost scary to think about that when you really, really like put it down and you actually think about what that means.
7.
Yeah. So
exactly.
Haven't heard that in a while. Anyways,
He'll tell you he's on 8 now. So
yeah, well, he's working. I'm gonna play that until he has 8, and then I'll have to figure out what soundbite to get 8 with. But no, this would be a league-changing move that would, in my opinion, not now. Again, I think there's you can never be so certain, especially if a trade like this happened, it would happen probably very soon.
Right.
So to that, there's so many other parts of this offseason, steps to this offseason to build and grow your team. So I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, they make that move and Arizona's the best team. No, I don't know that. I don't know how great a coach Cliff Kingsbury is. I don't know that. None of us do. I mean, we can sit there and project and guess and say, well, he's done some good things, he's done some bad things. We think he's going to be good in this situation. I don't know. Like I said, realistically, I don't know. I don't know about the rest of this team. I love Larry Fitzgerald. He's an old guy, man. He's an old guy.
Yep.
DeAndre Hopkins, I think probably is the best receiver in football. You can make an argument for a number of different guys. I think overall DeAndre Hopkins, I think, is the best, top to bottom receiver in the NFL. Again, you have a good collection of talent, but talent doesn't always equal success. And I think Arizona would immediately become the best team in that division. And that's with assuming Seattle holds on to Russell Wilson, which, again, I don't think is a certainty. They automatically become the best team in that division. I would say that. Talent-wise, based on what we know, easily.
Deshaun Watson entering that locker room and becoming a member of the Arizona Cardinals, yeah, that does. That instantly makes them the best team in that division. And look, we're talking about a division with 3 other teams that are not exactly also Rams. We're talking about the LA Rams right now that made great strides. I think they improved. I think they upgraded with Matt Stafford over Jared Goff at quarterback. They're right now in the thick of trying to contend. You got the Seattle Seahawks. If in fact they hang on to Russell Wilson, which again is not a given, but we're assuming that they will, they're going to be in the thick of things. Regardless of what, when you have Russell Wilson on your roster, you're going to be a contender at some point. So they're going to be a formidable team. And the San Francisco 49ers, for everything that they went through last year with a rash of injuries, like I've never seen a team, experience in recent memory. If they come back with a pretty full arsenal, a full defense, if they do end up, and there's another team right now with a lot of question marks because over the weekend, I'm sure you saw the reports the same as I did. Boston Sports Journal's Greg Bedard reporting that Jimmy Garoppolo is the Patriots' plan A at quarterback. Now, whether that's going to come to fruition, whether there's a little more smoke rather than fire to that report, that's something we're still all kind of sorting out here in New England right now. But
It's not a lie.
it's gaining.
If you believe it.
That is true, George. Absolutely. Yes. George Costanza, wise wisdom from George Costanza on a Monday morning. But if that is indeed true and the Patriots are serious about trying to trade, what does that mean for San Francisco? Where do they go? Because say what you will about Jimmy Garoppolo, but he's a serviceable quarterback. Even if you say at best he's a serviceable quarterback, he still provides you with the opportunity to contend regardless of what. So this is a tough division to begin with. And in my opinion, you add someone like, Deshaun Watson to an already formidable Arizona team. And yeah, they become the best team in that division. And that's not an easy task.
Yeah. And look, I mean, these games still have to be played. So we're not making,
this is all on paper, all speculation.
And again, I mean,
Ian's absolutely right.
Not everyone handles the pressure well, I'm not saying I'm not questioning Deshaun Watson. I'm just saying, the expectations can be the undoing of some teams. Sometimes the expectations become the weight of those expectations become a little too heavy. There, Mike. We'll see though. I mean, it's going to be interesting. I feel like this year in particular, the quarterback questions are I mean, there's just so many. I mean, I know it's the easiest thing to talk about, but it's really the most fascinating part of this offseason. Like, compared to last year, like we talked last year, obviously, Phillip Rivers, the big free agent signing. Oh yeah, and then that guy named Tom Brady. But it was kind of shocking in that sense, mostly to see Tom Brady move on. Again, Phillip Rivers, really nice career. Obviously isn't held in the same regard as Tom Brady, so albeit shocking, it wasn't on the same level. I mean, Peyton Manning changes teams. Yeah, you take notice. Tom Brady changes teams. You take notice. Phillip Rivers, yeah, it's interesting. Sure, no doubt. This year, however, there's so many questions around a lot of these quarterbacks, and some very, very good ones. We know where Tom Brady's going to be. He's very happy down here in Florida, and trust me, it's pretty nice. It's actually it's 58 degrees right now, so it's a little chilly out. But I'm sure some of you will trade that for what you have going on right now. But he's happy down here. He's not going anywhere. However, there's a lot of other quarterbacks out there, and we already talked about 2 first-round picks getting traded for each other. That rarely happens ever, let alone, as a kind of a, I mean, what is it? It's kind of a footnote to this offseason right now. I mean, in reality, or at least when free agency hits and when the draft comes around, it'll ultimately end up being a footnote on this offseason. Like, I think when people talk about this offseason, one of the last things they're going to bring up is Matt Stafford for Jared Goff. And that's how ridiculous I think this is going to be, especially with all this quarterback movement or potential quarterback movement. Or maybe it's just drama. Maybe it's just drama.
No, I think you hit the nail on the head. Drink up, folks,
Yeah.
because it really is. I think, going to end up being one of the more middle of the road storylines. Now, is it going to be a footnote? Maybe not necessarily a footnote. I mean, that's a pretty big trade that did, change the balance of power a little bit. I think, especially in the NFC East, you can make the argument right now that maybe this team is in the driver's seat when it comes to contending for a division title with the 4 teams as they're currently constituted. But at the end of all this, it really does have the potential of being one of the lesser storylines, one of the lesser major storylines. And who would have thought that? Any other offseason, you would think Matthew Stafford being traded for Jared Goff, that's huge. That's blockbuster. Nothing's going to top that. When you think of the possible movement of guys like Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, and Dak Prescott all in one offseason. And then you start talking about some of the other names in the shoes that can drop, like a Jimmy Garoppolo. Cam Newton, still a big name around there. Where does he end up in all this if those rumors are to be believed about Jimmy? So
what do you think
going on, and I think it's going to be interesting.
Real quick, what do you think that shoe is? We talk about it, and I think I think there's one move out there that's going to open the floodgates, and I don't know exactly maybe what that is, but maybe you do, Mike. What do you think that is? What one quarterback move is going to absolutely open the doors for? Because right now I feel like everyone's just kind of sitting on edge, just waiting. Who's going to make a move first? Who's going to be that person to set all this in motion? Who's going to start the run on quarterback, so to speak? For those fantasy football players out there.
If you're talking storylines, quote unquote, and I say that tongue in cheek, but if you're talking storylines, it's going to be Deshaun Watson, because I think right now, if any team out there believes they legitimately have a shot at getting Deshaun Watson, whether it's a outside shot, whether it's a Lloyd Christmas, so you're telling me there's a chance type shot, or whether or not it's a legitimate shot that they believe they can pry Deshaun Watson away from the Houston Texans, he's the crown jewel in all this right now. I say that with every reverence to Russell Wilson. Yeah. I do. I say that with every reverence to Russell Wilson because I love Wilson as a quarterback, and I think that there's still a lot left. But you're talking the age factor. You're talking being able to have someone that's really, in my opinion, with Watson entering his prime, where I believe you can make the argument that maybe Wilson, while still in his prime, is on the downward slope of his prime, not the upward slope. Watson, without any question, is still ascending that mountain. He's a more valuable commodity, in my opinion. But these moves are equally as significant. They're going to equally get the amount of headlines. But to me, I think Watson right now is the one that everybody's waiting to see, because Houston's playing hardball. They're saying we're not going to trade him. But you and I both know that is a lot of posturing. I mean, that's a message that you have to put out there to your fan base. You don't want to make it seem like you're waving the white flag, but I don't see a situation where this is repairable. And I think that if Deshaun has put himself out there and says, look, I will sit games out if I have to, he's already put that out there. So in a lot of ways, I think this is past the point of no return. And I think as long as teams believe that there is at least an outside shot that they can make an offer to the Houston Texans that might be to their liking, that may be the one that everybody's holding out on. So that's the move that I'm looking for. And I think that would open the floodgates. If in fact he gets dealt, then all of a sudden you can start doing a lot of different
very funny, Fletcher.
Start doing a lot of different things.
You want to play hardball? I'm game.
As soon as you said that, I went right to liar, liar. I apologize. This is how my mind works. I had to find that clip. So
Dynamite dropping.
No, I agree with you. Deshaun Watson is the guy that will, if he gets moved tomorrow, I think you're going to see a lot of movement on these quarterbacks. And I got to compliment your objectivity, my friend. You did not show any bias towards your fellow vertically challenged brother there and Russell Wilson when choosing between the two. I think you handled it quite well. I figured you might lean short, but you're right. Deshaun Watson.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I love me some Russell Wilson. The guy is, Gray's Mr. Unlimited. Come on, you gotta love Mr. Unlimited. but at the same time, if you're asking me if these two quarterbacks are out there and I have my pick of the litter, I'm taking Deshaun Watson for the reasons that I stated. The upside is tremendous, and you're also gaining him with a little more longevity at this point. So to me, it's a no-brainer. This one's going to be an interesting move coming down the pike. I think we're in for a really, really interesting couple of weeks here in the NFL. If you love NFL rumors and following around on these storylines, you're going to love this. It's a nightmare for those who cover it, but it's also a labor of love for those who cover it as well. So good stuff coming, bud.
Yeah, it's fun. It's going to give us a lot to talk about. So remember, next Tuesday, 17th, started the new league year and NFL free agency. So mark your calendars, folks. We'll be on air. Perhaps maybe
it's the 17th is Wednesday.
Wednesday, sorry. Tuesday, Wednesday. What's the difference? They
St.
both end in
Patrick's
day.
Day on Wednesday as well. So great stuff. But of course, here in New England, a day which will live in infamy.
Yeah. Well, hey, whatever. I think most reasonable people are over it. Hopefully, you've adjusted well and have accepted what you should have accepted a long time ago. And Tom Brady's not walking through that door, unfortunately. But
no, unfortunately not.
I guess that's it. We're going to say goodbye for the day. If you want to give us a follow on Twitter, at FPC Radio Live, at Full Press Radio, at IGLEN31, that's me, MDABATEFPC, that would be Mike. And go ahead, download the app. Available now. Google Play, Apple Store, all that fun stuff. Check it out, subscribe, give us a rating if you want. Hopefully a good one. If you want to give us a negative one, well, don't, please. I'm begging you. It doesn't do us any good to give us a negative one. So if you feel so kind as to want to plug us a little bit, feel free to do that. But really, download the app if you want. It's great. It's fun. It's free. It's easy. And you can listen to this show, all of our podcasts, all of our live radio, and read, of course, all of our great content from all the Full Press Coverage websites. So hang in there. Have a great day. We will be back tomorrow with John Sapichetti. We'll probably talk some NBA All-Star Game and all that fun stuff. So have a great day, folks, and we'll talk to you then.